Hello, everyone, and welcome to another beautiful day. It is Friday. Thank God it's Friday. This is the TGIF edition of Global Morning, and we're excited to come on your way this morning. Of course, the day is beautiful, it's bright, and loaded with a lot of benefit. My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo, and of course, I'm standing in for Uyagbomofuegwe today, and I have also with me here Jumai Manson. It's good to have you, to be with you on Global Morning. You know, it's been a while.
It's been a while. Good morning, Ramsey Enoch Agbo. How are you doing
Yes,
today?
I'm good.
Well
I'm
done.
good.
Well done. Of course, I am Jumai Manson.
Yes. It's Friday.
It's Friday.
There's something that comes with Friday. You know, Friday, a lot of people, the excitement on Friday is different from other days.
Yes.
Reason being that someone is about to go have some fun. You know, Saturday, you know how a lot of people prepare for the weekend.
Yes.
And some people say the weekend is for Owambe.
Owambe.
Do you know what is Owambe?
Of course. It has to do with parties.
Party. Oh my God.
Birthdays, weddings.
Are you a party person?
Of course, Lagos, my parents are in Lagos, so we hear Owambe. So it's parties where there are weddings and all of these issues. But this particular weekend that everyone is being excited for, tomorrow there's going to be an electoral process tomorrow, Saturday.
Well, tomorrow is going to be another time of checking out who is capable, who has the capacity to be in charge of the FCT, the chairmanship, the council election for AMAC, for FCT will be happening tomorrow across AMAC, across all the other municipal councils. And of course, one thing that a lot of people have said is that when it comes to election in FCT, it's unique.
Yes, it is.
The reason why a lot of people see it to be a unique time and a unique kind of election is because you don't need to be an indigene of FCT to contest for a council position.
Yes.
I was with a man yesterday from the East who was contesting for the position of the chairman in FCT, and I was like, wow. Well, this is good, this is great. And one other thing again is the fact that ordinarily, if it is other kinds of election, people will be saying, yes, you can't withstand the incumbent, well, the ruling party, they're going to take it and all of that. For FCT, it's a different ball game altogether. Because anything can happen. You have people coming from different places, different states to converge in FCT because it's the Federal Capital Territory.
Yes, it is.
So a lot of people will be going to test their popularity tomorrow, at the poll. Someone says something, they say, hey, he is even a member of the APC. He told me, he said, well, they are not leaving any student term. They are not leaving loopholes. They are not taking chances.
At all.
Because this is FCT and anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
One of the things that stood out in this FCT election is the fact that some very prominent persons in the ADC were walking from street to street with their candidates to campaign. Example, Peter Obi.
And of course, Atiku Abubakar.
And Atiku Abubakar.
Yes.
They are all in ADC. So ADC is trying to do everything to give support to their members. And for me, that is beautiful enough.
That is.
We're not saying other parties are not doing the same, but of course, that is beautiful. So I don't really know what we are expecting tomorrow.
Really, I do not know. But, you said something that an Igbo man coming into the FCT to vie for the position of the chairman. And at the same time, now we understand that there's unity in diversity. It doesn't matter where you're from, as long as you can deliver. That's the most important thing. And I like the unison that I'm seeing with the ADC. I'm not a card-carrying member of ADC. I mean, I just want the best man to win. But at the same time, I saw that support. And for me, it went, I felt that they were carrying everyone along. It doesn't matter from councillorship or whatever position in which you are going to uphold that card-carrying flag of ours. We are all together in this. It doesn't matter the level in which I want to contest or you want to contest. We are all together in this party. We are united as one. I saw that's something new. Like it is going around from door to door is something. And I think other parties should learn from that and know
from
that.
ADC?
Yeah, I think that's an example.
One thing is that the people in ADC, they are not new in politics.
Yes, I know.
So they know the game. Look at the caliber of people. All right. What would you say when you have the caliber of Atiku Abubakar? I know Atiku Abubakar is no longer in the People's Democratic Party, where he pitched his tent earlier because of one or two things. But then you can't take it away. You can't take away that fact that Atiku Abubakar is a force to reckon with when it comes to politics.
Yes.
Then you have someone like that going to support a candidate, chairmanship, councillorship candidate of his party. It goes a long way. So they know the game. They know what to do. And I think there is some level of enthusiasm for those contesting the candidates. When you see people like that behind you, it doesn't matter who is going to win. But then, whether it is APC, if it is Labour Party, if it is Action Congress, if it is PDP, whichever party that wins, I think one thing is very important. And that is how FCT is going to be run. Because it's all about the people.
Exactly.
In a climb where everything works positively. I think what we should even be talking about right now is FCT people are about to get to the next level and all of that. But now people will be talking about the candidates.
Yes.
All right.
Exactly.
Your life has changed forever. Instead of the people saying, focusing on the people to say, FCT residents' life has changed forever. People will be saying, oh man, this guy won the chairmanship election. You know, this one won the councillorship election. That guy's life has changed forever. That's the irony of elections.
They are going to go and milk the cow
in Nigeria.
But you know what? You said something, Ramsey. You said that these individuals have been in politics for a very long time. They know the game. Sometimes they just want to make a difference. It doesn't matter even if you've been an OG where you're coming from. People know you and you know the game when it comes to these things. But these are people that want to make a difference now. So who knows? You might say it's a strategy, but they might just say they just want to put in their effort to show support, basically. So let's not judge by that.
That's great. Well, the election is going to be going down tomorrow. And I heard the police have issued a notice, in case you've not heard, that from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. there won't be movement. If you must move at all, maybe you're an essential worker, or probably you're going to your PU, your polling unit, where you're supposed to cast your vote, or else. If you don't have anything serious to do, there's no need coming out, because I think we are tired of hearing of harassment, police harassment, security operative harassing people. So sometimes we also have to do the right thing, all right, to avoid some of this harassment that a lot of people have talked about, have claimed at different quarters. So as it is right now, today is a very beautiful day, and today is February 20th, and of course it's a big day. The world is celebrating World Day of Social Justice. World Day of Social Justice. When you want to talk about justice, justice in Nigeria. It's a big topic to talk about.
Why did you say it that way?
No. If you want to talk about justice.
But have it at the back of your mind, Ramsey, that justice will always prevail. It doesn't matter how long it tarries.
Yes. But if you want to talk about justice, you know, that symbol of justice, if you remember.
The scale of justice.
Yeah, yes. Well, I'm talking about World Social Justice Day. It is celebrated all over the world.
Yes, it is.
And it's one of the United Nations Day that they celebrate, United Nations observance that promotes social justice, equality, and human rights. You know, I had a program on issues, and someone was talking about how they were being maltreated, you know, how injustice is being done to them by the law enforcement agent, you know, the law enforcement agency, you know, and of course, sometimes you sit down to think, A lot of Nigerians today will tell you the judiciary is no longer the hope of the common man, the last hope even. Not just the hope, but the last hope of the common man. Looking at our justice system as it is right now, today is the celebration is on everywhere.
Yes.
Do you think Nigerians will support or will come out to do this? Because normally days like this, you see civil society organizations who have been working tirelessly, if you ask me, come out to create awareness, what to do, and all of that. Well, social justice. What would you have to say about justice in Nigeria, social justice in Nigeria as a whole?
Well, like you said, the common man will say that, it's not the hope of the common man anymore when it comes to justice and all of that. But at the same time, now I say Nigerians are becoming more aware and more connected when it comes to issues like this. They now are beginning to understand their rights and why it is important that justice must take its course. It doesn't matter how long it lingers, but the needful needs to be done. Justice needs to prevail. So at the same time, as Nigerians and as a Nigerian, I think we should be hopeful and know that though it may tarry, you might see some injustice here and there, which is glaring, but at the same time, you know that it's a process. And basically, you have to be hopeful and know that things will work out at the right time. It doesn't matter how long it prolongs or how long it tarries, but justice must prevail.
Yes, what is being promoted today is equality. Then let's talk about equality in Nigeria.
That's a long time.
What we have in Nigeria is class. I don't think we have equality as such. What we have is class. What do I mean when I say what we have mostly is class?
The elites.
You hear this one are the elites, all right? This one are this, these ones are that. So as a matter of fact, what it means is that you need to belong to a particular class, all right, to know where you are. The equality is not there. Sometimes affluence even create the difference. Or, there are people who feel more important than the other. Some people feel, well, they are the ones that are on top of the world, as the case may be. But then some other persons will say, well, he's not as rich as I am. He's not in our class. Where is the place of equality? People in political offices feel they are on top of the world. They look at other people. Okay, for instance, look at what happened in the market. Well, sometimes circumstances draw the line.
Yes, it does.
You go to a shopping mall. You see where they sell expensive things. You see some kind of persons buying from there. And you see some kind of persons buying from the other side. Then when they come out, you see, you see the kind of car this person is driving. You see the kind of car this person is driving. The ways people address each other, okay, they address them based on their current status, forgetting about equality, which is one thing that the law should uphold. As a matter of fact, equality before the law. But do we have equality before the law, Manson? Do we have it?
No, we do not. Of course, it's glaring that we do not. That, of course, your status will take preeminence over that of a poor man. There's no equality when it comes to that. A friend of mine told me something. He said he was going out with his friends and he just wore jeans and a t-shirt, and his friend was all dressed in native attire, and they went to a restaurant, and the girls saw them. They sat down, and he said he wanted a particular meal, and then the lady was like, no, our advice, it's very expensive. She was advising him that it's very expensive, that you should go for this. And he looked at her. You said, you think I can't afford it? He said, no, she was just advising that this is really, really high. He said, okay, don't worry. His friend is going to pay for him, no problem. Not knowing that he's the one that is going to pay. Do you understand? He said because he was dressed in a sort of way, like maybe a jeans and a shirt, and the other one was well dressed in his regalia.
Can I tell you something?
Tell me, please.
Tell him that I said he's even lucky that lady didn't say, "Oh, you are a driver." You know, I know. That's the mentality a lot of people have.
But it's so wrong.
It's so wrong.
It's so wrong.
I had someone very rich. He even, in fact, this is someone that has a private hospital in Canada. You know, he came visiting, and the way he was dressed, you wouldn't know that he's someone that is based abroad, own his own personal hospital, being run with himself and the wife. You know, so sometimes, and it is because of the environment, because there is this belief even that if you want to get something, a lot of people will tell you, they feel the most expensive one is the quality one.
Exactly.
All right, understand. Let's now come down to the issue of law. Equality before the law, because we're saying this because of what is being celebrated today,
yes,
and the significance, all right, the theme of the day. You know, equality before the law is something that is lacking in our society,
in our judiciary,
especially in Nigeria. So as it is right now, so many things are happening that we don't really know. But you don't need, where the law is working, you don't need to be very rich to afford justice. Where the law is working.
Yes, true.
I know you would get a lawyer, but there are lawyers that run pro bono.
Pro bono, yes, of course.
You understand? So there are even civil society organizations that can pick up a case, but how many cases
and if the
have
system
ever been
is
won
working
by? Yes, that's what I was saying. How many cases have been won by civil society organizations when the money is not there? That's where the issue of equality comes in. Well, the team often focuses on issues like promoting equality and combating discrimination, like we just said. You just gave an instance, all right? Discrimination. Well, you're putting on a jeans, you're looking simple,
very
so people think you are poor.
Exactly.
And that's why a lot of people run themselves down, you know, trying to belong, and they go do some illegitimate things so they can belong. They can buy clothes. Someone said clothes is covering a whole lot.
A whole lot, yeah.
So the theme actually focuses on issues like promoting equality and combating discrimination, addressing poverty and unemployment, which is one basic problem. I call it a basic problem because it is the percentage. If you look at the percentage, 33.3%, well, it is even more than that right now. Ensuring access to education and healthcare, fostering social inclusion and solidarity. If you want to talk about this, it's going to take a lot of time. So the World Day of Social Justice is focusing on these 4 themes. You know, each year they have their theme, all right, promoting equality and combating discrimination. Very, very bad. Was it not just a few days ago, we were somewhere where some people said they were supposed to give an employment in an agency of the government, and they are disabled people. Okay, they are disabled, and they said they've written to them, and they say they have I think 5% quota allocation or so, and they said the director of that company actually ran into them with his vehicle because they sat at the gate. All right, they say ran into them. That's the discrimination we're talking about. These things happen everywhere. All right, especially for people who are less privileged, people who are
unfortunately so.
Yes. What of the issue of unemployment?
One of the main issues of unemployment. It's just unfortunate, but at the same time, there's discrimination basically everywhere, especially when the system is not working at all. It's just unfortunate, really.
It's unfortunate. At this point, we'll take a quick break. When we return, we'll bring you the inspirationals, after which we'll bring you the national dailies. What are the headlines saying for today? Stay with us. It's another beautiful day, and I'm so excited to have you right here, where you can watch me from wherever you are, in Nigeria, in America, in Canada, in Europe, in Asia, everywhere, this very beautiful day. Today, I just want to encourage someone. What I do is to ensure and make you understand that the road to success is very broad, yeah? But then, so many persons are competing for the same thing that you are competing for. But you have everything that it takes to be the one who will achieve that success. On your journey of achieving success, so many things will happen on the way. But then, you are a destined successful man, successful woman. And you need to know this first of all before you get started. My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Welcome to your success tip. You can start where you are. That's it. You can start where you are. Where you are does not matter. I tell people oftentimes that where you are at a particular time does not really matter, but what you do with where you are. There is this saying that as far as you can see, you can actually seize it. Now let's get to talk briefly about this all-important discussion today. What are you seeing? What's in front of you? What are the obstacles that you're seeing? The obstacles that you are seeing, are you seeing some success ahead of the obstacle? But people who are not scared of work, heavy duty, oftentimes they get to success easily. But sometimes they come dressed in form of work. But if you are the lazy type, if you are the type who doesn't want to do anything, just want success to come from heaven and just land on you, no. It doesn't happen that way. So what am I trying to establish? You need to start from where you are. Whatever you need to do. A lot of people are complaining every day. Some people complain more than the action. You're talking more and there is less of action. How would you get to your destination? What you need to do as a young man, a young woman, irrespective of age, is to start from where you are. Let me tell you something about vision and accomplishment. There is a space, all right, between your vision and the period of accomplishment. Whatever that does not have a time it's not permitted to happen. Let me say that clear. Anything that does not have a timeline, that does not have a date, does not have the permission to come to fulfillment. So whatever you want to do from where you are, give it a date, give it a timeline, and pursue it. Write the vision, make it plain, pursue it, run after it, break it into bits. This is what I want to do. Some people don't even have their to-do list. And that's the reason a lot of people are confused today. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. That's the motto for today's discussion. All right? First of all, start where you are. Secondly, use what you have instead of complaining. Start with what you have. A lot of people are potential entrepreneurs. A lot of people are potential CEOs, but their visions have died on their inside because of limitation. And the worst limitation is that one that comes from your inside, the one you impose on yourself. And that's the reason I am being, I just feel like talking about people who are stagnated today. That stagnation that you're complaining of, that you are tying to your environment or maybe to the resources that you have, that's not where the problem is. The problem is because you have refused to start with the little that you have. Do what you can. Do what you can. You can start alone, first of all, before you begin to have staff. Start it first. If you grow in a particular business to a particular point in time and you feel, all right, at this time, this is what I need to get to the other level, then I'm being limited by capital. You can meet one or two persons, share your idea with them, all right? And people can buy into your idea and sponsor your idea. Where you are now is not a limitation. The only thing that is the limitation is the fact that you have refused to start from where you are. You have refused to use what you have. You have refused to do what you can to push your vision forward. What am I trying to emphasize today? I want you to know that, let me ask something. How many dreams have died because someone was waiting for the perfect moment? There is nothing like the perfect time. The present time is the best time. If you had started that business yesterday, only God knows where you would have been now. That's your vision. I don't know why I'm talking about business today. It's like someone listening to me right now is supposed to start a business that the person has not started, maybe because the person feels there is no enough fund or there is no an enabling environment. I hear people complain all the time. We don't have an enabling environment no matter how the environment is. Get started first. All right? Things will fall into place. Some people say, I will start when I have the money. I will begin when I have the right equipment. I will take the first step when everything is in place. But no, it is beyond that. The truth is this: there will never be a perfect time. The perfect time is now. All right? The perfect time is when? It is now. According to Arthur Ashe, let me just give you this quote. The legendary tennis champion once said, "Start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can." That's what we're building on today. He didn't have the fanciest equipment. He didn't train in the best facilities, but he had will. Every big dream starts small. You see the tree growing gradually until it becomes a tree, becomes a forest, and people go there, all right, to make use of it. Every expert was once a beginner, and every victory begins with a step. So what are you waiting for? Just take that step today and you will get to your destination. You will get to fulfillment. All you have to do is just to take that step first. Just make that move. Well, if you can, just take that one step. Send that email, make that call, write that post, record that video. You already started a chain reaction towards your future already without you knowing. Finally, before I let you go, I want you to know that you need to take an action. Don't wait for the stars to align. Move and they will follow you. Your dream is waiting on your courage, not on your comfort. Start now. When do you have to start? Start now. Start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. And before you know it, you are already a talk of the town, a sought after, a success personified. And everyone, I told someone yesterday, I said, success have many brothers, but failure is an orphan. No one wants to identify with a failure. You will never be a failure. You are a successful man, you are a successful woman. Congratulations to you. This is where I will be stopping in this episode. My name is Ramsey. Once again, see you at the other side of success. Bye-bye.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
Watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
All right, you're welcome back. Hope you are well inspired by that inspirational. And at about this point is a newspaper review segment. And we're going to start with the first paper of the day. It's the Nigerian Tribune. And above the nameplate, it says, Pegasus faults Tinubu's executive order, says it's direct attack on PIA's provision. And that you will find on page 3. Next on page 6, it says, Rivers Assembly halts impeachment of Fubara deputy. And then on page 12 on the Nigerian Tribune, it says, gunmen attacked Ondo community, kill monarch. Very sad news there. And the star story on the Nigerian Tribune says, CSOs, ADC, Kwakwasea, kick over Electoral Act 2026. And we have about 4 riders there. It says, flaws in law will undermine electoral integrity, exclude millions of Nigerians. And that's from the CSOs. And then another rider says, want INEC to publish reverse 2027 election timetable. And then, of course, the next writer says ADC faults presidential assent, claims action hasty. And the next says accelerated assent pretends dangers of unchecked one-party dominance. And that's from Kwakwasea movement. And that read you will find on page 21 and 22. And on page 20 says CDS Army Chief flag of Operation Savannah Shield in Kwara. And it says Abdulrazak commends Tinubu. It's a brief relief to our people. He says CDS seeks public support for operation. And then next it says Naira seen extending gains as African currencies hold steady, and that's on page 4. And next on the right hand it says Osun splits Oshogbo Iwo Ibadan Road to 3 contractors for timely completion. And I think that's the right step in the right direction, and that's on page 6. And on the health page it says pre-competition sex can actually boost athletic performance, and that's from study, and that's on page 18. And that's all on the Nigerian Tribune. Please go out and get yourself a copy and be well abreast with issues making round. The next paper will be taken by Mr. Ramsey Enoch Agbo, which is the Guardian.
All right, let's quickly look at the Guardian newspaper this morning for you and see the headlines that we have there. To the right-hand side on The Guardian, it says, retract executive order. Pegasus tells Tinubu warns of threat to PIA. NLC fires back at APGC. Jenkos over 6 trillion naira bailout demand. Senate grills economic team. Consider trimming 2026 budget. The 2026 budget has generated a lot of controversy. The defense is still going on. But then let's see how all of that is going to end. And now to the star story on The Guardian newspaper. How oldest president tighten grip on youngest continent? That looks like a study. You can pick a copy of The Guardian newspaper to get more details on that. Lakurawa, terrorists killed 34 in Kebbi community. U.S. troops deployment to fight insecurity in national interest, says House of Rep. And this one says, reps to vote on 1999 Constitution Amendment proposal. CSOs predicts apathy as FCT protests new Electoral Act, INEC's 2027 readiness. Opposition, CSOs kick as Electoral Act amendment widens 2027 fault lines. Amopiton has said, well, technology is not just the only thing that we would use in fighting electoral malfunction in Nigeria. Finally, from The Guardian newspaper this morning, Rivers Assembly suspends impeachment proceedings against Fubara and his deputy. The details you can find on page 29 of The Guardian newspaper. And those are the headlines for you today from the Guardian newspaper as we move ahead to the Nation's newspaper.
All right, now the Nation newspaper, and above the nameplate it says Fubara, lawmakers set for new dawn, and that's on page 3. And the rider says court cases withdrawn. And on page 7 it says strictly follow procurement laws, federal government orders MDAs, and that's on page 7. And on page 3 it says ex-Kaduna governor in our custody, says ICPC. And on page 4 on the Nation it says Rivers mourn as Senator Biggie dies at 64. And below the nameplate it says experts endorse executive order on oil gas revenue remittance. And the star story above it, it says how we tracked arrested our church attackers by DSS witness. And that's on page 4. And the star story on the Nation says 58.47 trillion naira budget 2026 within safe limits, says finance minister. And there are 2 riders there. It says president's economic team defends proposals. And the next says cost of borrowing a major challenge. And it says UK Germany backs battle against terrorists. And at the foot of the Nation it reads Dadayata's wife, I'm sad about El-Rufai's son mocking my husband's adoption. And that you will find on page 23 on the Nation newspaper. Please go out to get yourself a copy and be well abreast with the issues making rounds. Next is the Vanguard. Over to you.
Well, let's quickly look at the Vanguard newspaper. Vanguard has a lot of headlines for you this morning, and we'll just do the ones that we can. Above the nameplate, El-Rufai's lawyer protests home raid amid ICPC detention. The FCT, the El-Rufai case is becoming more interesting because other anti-graft agencies are getting interested in the whole matter. The federal government defers 70% of 2025 capital budget to 2026. Aiyedatiwa versus Tunji Ojo, that's the kicker. Political cold war sparks killings, violence in Ondo State. And now to the big story. The star story on the Punch newspaper has the rider, which says Tinubu's executive order. That's the kicker. Then the story says federal government, states, local governments allocation may increase by 15 trillion naira. Let's take a quick look at the riders to that story. President moves to channel oil proceeds directly to federation account. NNPC, NUPRC, NRC revenue affected. Naira hits 2-year high at 1,347 naira to a dollar. Details you can find on page 22. DSS invites suspects as wife opens up on Dadayata's abduction. You know, that's one of the allegations that a lot of people are shifting blames about in connection to the arrest of the former Kaduna State governor. We'll bring you all of that detail as it unfolds. But then he said I've spoken about the ICPC's raid this morning, but he's still in custody. So let's just keep our fingers crossed. Keep time on Global Television. We'll bring you more details. More headlines from the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And as a matter of fact, let's move. These are the headlines that we have for you this morning as we move to our next point of call.
All right, our next point of call is the Daily Trust, and that's the next point of call. And of course, below the nameplate here on page 3, it says, first of all, it says day 3, Ramadan timing for Abuja, and a lot here that you can get abreast with the the timing. And here it says ICPC raids El-Rufai's Abuja residence, and that you will find on page 7. If you're wondering what that is all about, you have to flip to page 7 to see. And on page 5, it says FCT cancels polls how PDP candidates withdrew from race. And then on page 12, it reads Rivers Assembly suspends impeachment plot against Fubara and the deputy. And the start story there says CSO's opposition raise against Electoral Act. And below that it says election, Wike declares today work free in FCT. And that's on page 35. Now on page 5 it says gunmen invade palace, kill traditional ruler. And on page 36 it says military launches new operations against terrorists in Kwara and Niger. And below all of that, on page 5 again, it says gunmen attack Kebbi communities, kill 35. And basically that's all the details on the Daily Trust. Go out and get yourself a copy and be well abreast with issues making rounds. Next is the Daily Sun. Over to you.
All right, let's quickly look at the Daily Sun newspaper for you this morning. On the Daily Sun newspaper, we have a couple of headlines. Just beside the nameplate, this one says Igbo traders in Lagos set to relocate to Enugu. Igbo traders in Lagos set to relocate in Enugu. If you want to know the details, what's wrong, what's the problem, why all of that, pick a copy of the Daily Sun newspaper and you'll get to know. Then the star story on the Daily Sun newspaper this morning says Electoral Act. Tinubu has signed death warrant. That is coming from ADC. Are they speaking from the place of opposition or they are speaking the minds of Nigerians? You know, oftentimes when oppositions make statements, a lot of people, that's the way it's been looked at. Maybe some people will look at it as, all right, this is what they are saying. What do they mean?
What do they
Is it because they are not the ones there? If they were there, would they have done differently?
Exactly.
Would they have done it differently? You know, so when you say Electoral Act, Tinubu has signed death warrant. It's deep. All right.
It's very deep.
But I think everything here is tilting towards 2027.
Of course.
Or what else?
Of course.
I think it's tilting towards the election. The writer to that story says ACF, Kuka Center, Yaga Africa, others knock precedent. A lot of people seem not to be satisfied with the signing of the Electoral Act, but then it's been signed. Let's just work towards how 2027 and other elections would be successful. I think the test run, should I say test run, would start from the FCT election, which is coming up tomorrow. So let's just see how that is going to work. Some persons define opinion to say, well, would this be the solution, all right, to electoral malpractices in Nigeria? Or would there still be manipulations as it has been alleged by a lot of Nigerians? We're just watching to see how all of this will go at the end of the day.
Fingers crossed.
Let's bring you more headlines this morning from the Daily Sun newspaper. On the Daily Sun newspaper this morning, we have this other headlines. This one says FCT Council poll. Again, PDP chairmanship candidate withdrawn from APC in another wiki broken deal. More to step down for APC. Ajia is the one saying that. Well, tax reforms, digital system to raise Nigeria's tax to GDP ratio to 18%. That is coming from Wale Edun. Well, we all know what happened yesterday in the House. He was there. Reason says Okpebholo demolishes building linked to cult members, seal off orders. All right. I think that's one of the ways to get rid of this menace in the society. Finally, from the Daily Sun newspaper, gunmen invaded palace, kill monarch in Ondo State. The issue of insecurity is becoming too serious.
Yes,
you know,
it is.
Especially when it has to do with the heads, the leaders.
Yeah.
If leaders, traditional leaders, have been killed, I wonder what, these are people that have guards and all of that.
Yes.
What about
Well
the ordinary
protected.
man?
Exactly.
They are protected to an extent. What about the average Nigerian, the average Ondo citizen in different communities at the hinterland, at those dispersed settlements? What will become of them? So these are the questions Nigerians are asking, and those are the headlines for you today on the Daily Sun newspaper.
All right, next is the Punch newspaper, and above the nameplate it says El-Rufai's lawyers protest home raid amid ICPC detention, and that's on page 7. Now, beside the nameplate of the Punch, it says FG differs 70% of 2025 capital budget to 2026, and that's on page 29. On page 3, it says Ayedatiwa's Tunji versus Tunji Ojo, political cold war sparks killings, violence in Ondo, and that's on page 3. Now, the Star story reads, Tinubu's executive order, FGE states local government allocation may increase by 15 trillion naira. And the writer says President moves to channel oil proceeds directly to Federation account. NNPC, NUPRC, NRS revenues affected. And below that on page 22 it says Naira hits 2-year high at 1,347 Naira to a dollar. And on page 7, it says DSS invites suspects as wife opens up on the Dayata's abduction. And basically, okay, here on Banditry News, it says CDS Kwara Governor rally troops as Operation Savannah Shield begins. And if you're wondering what that is all about, you have to flip over to page 8, and we'll be well abreast with issues making rounds. And basically, the next paper.
All right, I think we can still take one more before Ogochukwu will come in. Let's quickly look at the Blueprint newspaper for you this morning and see the headlines that we have right there. On the Blueprint newspaper, beginning from the Star story, it says Tinubu affirms human oversight in election results, signs Electoral Act 2026. And of course, some riders to that story, it says Akpabio says Nigerians will be happy. PDP, CNPP kicks. Well, there would always be reactions, so I'm not even surprised about that. And now let's look at the next rider to that story. Ramadan timing adjusted, voter apathy addressed. This is coming from Abbas. And this one says Ramadan Lent coincidence shows Nigeria's oneness under God. This is Tinubu speaking, the president of the Republic of Nigeria. Some persons were like, Christians and Muslims are fasting together. Well, and these are the two major religions in Nigeria. And the president is saying, well, this is a sign that God believes in our unity, in our oneness. That's good for me. Then moving to the next headline. This one says 38 killed in Plateau mining explosion, 27 hospitalized. That is so uncalled for. We've heard about this several times. You could remember that one in Oyo State. Smedan appoints Jais Bank partner in Growth Fund scheme. Details you can find on page 20 of the Blueprint newspaper. And of course, this one says ex-FHC CR Amida Hassan, 13 others sworn in as judges. Congratulations. 2 killed, 3 injured as Ondo APC World Congress turns violent. Then finally, from the Blueprint newspaper this morning, how Jesse Jackson was part of June 12 struggle. This is coming from Bolaji Akiyemi. That looks more like an editorial. You can pick a copy of the Blueprint newspaper and go through them for more details. Well, this is going to be the size of the newspaper review this morning.
Yes, it
we'll
is.
go on a quick break. After this break, Ogochukwu Mobuno would be in the studio to bring us Social Buzz. Stay with us.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
Watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
When social media speaks, we'll listen and we'll bring you the extra. It's your one-stop show for trends, truths, and the tea everyone sips. Join the conversation, share your thoughts, and get the extra dose of what's shaking the internet.
And the issues making wave on social media to your doorstep.
Social Buzz Extra, where the trend meets the talk, only on Global Television.
Good morning, Nigerians, and good morning, viewers around the world. It's time to look at buzzing issues making round on social media. And today we're looking at an issue that has been making rounds. It has been trending for over a week now, and we're talking about Mirabel's case. The alleged rape victim, Mirabel, says she wasn't raped. So this lady came out about a week ago, alleging that she was raped. She got drunk, and then someone on the Sunday, which was last week Sunday, somebody came into her house, forcefully pushed her and raped her, and also tore her with a razor blade. And again, because of that, she has been suicidal. She even had to take something that is poisonous, a poisonous substance. According to her, she took Sniper, which landed her in the hospital, and she has been, since then, she has not known how to talk about it, but then she summoned courage. She came out and she talked about it. Okay, so that is the background story to it. So let's take the update story, which is a lady identified as Mirabel, who had earlier claimed she was raped, has now stated that the incident did not happen. It never happened. In a recent update circulating online, she admitted while speaking to social critic Very Dark Man, known as Victor Ose, Vincent Ose, I beg your pardon. She said that a previous claim was false and said she has been dealing with serious personal and mental health struggle. Let's look at and listen to that conversation. It is a phone conversation between Vincent Ose and Mirabel. Let's listen to that conversation.
So sad. I don't know what to do. I've
So
been
there's
suicidal.
so that means
I've been suicidal, and that's why I just wanted to end it all. I'm tired. I'm very tired.
so in a nutshell, the story about the rape is not true. So there's a high chance that something else happened, but the story of the rape is not true.
Yes, sir.
That's good. That's good. There's no problem. And that means you created the other account yourself.
Yes, sir. Please, sir, help me. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry. Don't worry. We're gonna do this together. Don't worry. Do you have any siblings?
No, sir. But I have friends.
Okay.
So that's what the brief conversation between Mirabel and Vincent Ose, also known as Very Dark Man. And you could hear her when she said, when Very Dark Man asked, that means the rape thing didn't happen, the rape incident? She said no. She made that up all by herself, including the conversation that, she released a conversation, a chat between her and the alleged rape, the person who raped her. And she said, you know what, I made up that chat also myself. There was never anyone there. So at this point, I'm going to ask myself, that means she has like an accomplice, because she cannot just wake up one day and do this all by herself. You do not have parents. According to her, she says she's an orphan. She has no parents and no siblings, but then she has friends. That means someone somewhere is actually pushing her to do something like this. Again, we are going to look at the health, the side effect, which is the health, or, she was just talking, Very Dark Man asked her if, she kind of, feels sick, if she's sick anywhere or any kind of way. She said no, but then she has been having this kind of mental health issues, which means that sometimes she feels suicidal. She feels like she should just kill herself. She can just pick up razor blade and start tearing herself, which is very, very bad. Well, let's take a look at some comments from social media as regards this particular conversation. And the first comment is coming from Humpex Boss Digitals. And Humpex says, she should be arrested immediately. Imagine if an innocent guy was dragged into this. All right, that's another angle. The next one is from actor Ifeoluwa. An actor says, well, I forgive you. People are going through things, but I believe there is a better way to do things. Very well. There is a better way. If you're feeling suicidal, talk to people. You have friends, talk to people. I'm sure if you have good friends, they'll refer you to a therapist or somebody, maybe in church, wherever you worship. They will definitely have some persons who are ready to listen to you and help you. All right? The third comment is coming from Don King, and Don King says, I like how she exposed how gullible most people can be, since we have chosen to always be emotional rather than looking at facts and relying on common sense. Since this, petulant gender war no agree. Okay, gender war no agree. Some people have sense. Mirabel, well done. Oh, you do well. Okay, Don is just trying to say that this kind of exposed how gullible people are, believing every story they see online. Sometimes it's not even just being gullible. It's because we've seen the stories often and often and often. And some people just feel like, okay, when you say something like this, it happens. It happened. But then, yes, being checking for facts is very, very essential when you hear stories like this, because these are sensitive stories. Okay. The last but not the least for the comments coming from Osita Julie, and Osita says she's depressed. She needs help. Definitely, she needs help. Well, I'm not alone today in the studio. I have with me Ramsey Enoch Abu. Good morning, Ramsey.
Yes, good morning, Ogochukwu Mobuno.
How are you doing today? It's Friday.
Good. It's Friday. It's good to be with you on Social Buzz today.
Thank you so much. All right, so we're talking about Mirabel's story. It's an alleged story of rape that she has been carrying out for over a week now. It's almost a week, and a lot of persons already believe the story. As a matter of fact, when I saw the story, when I listened to her story, she came out and she was talking about it. She was crying. She made a video of herself. I felt like there is a clause somewhere. I felt like there is a gap somewhere, of course. And of course, I had to, investigate. I never carried the story on my show because I told myself I need to really investigate properly to know that this story is real. I shouldn't just come up here and give people a story that isn't real and never happened. Okay, so and thank God investigations have been ongoing and this is what we found out. What do you think about this?
I think what I feel is that more investigations should still be done.
Okay.
All right. She says she's an orphan. She doesn't have siblings, but she has friends.
No parents.
No parents. So investigation. I believe very dark man have not revealed everything that she discussed with her.
Definitely.
But I believe more investigations should be done. What warranted this? Why did she decide to choose this way? And to an extent, I think she was smart to an extent. This looks like something that was all planned. All right. Why did I say so? She didn't mention anyone's name. All right. She didn't mention anyone's name. Probably she was looking for self-pity. Maybe people take it up and say, innocent girl, this. Well, I will send you this, send you this, send your account number, this. Well, no, it could be possible. I don't know. I'm just thinking loud. So all of that put together, I think more investigations need to be done. No matter what you're going through, all right? Please, let's know how to use social media. Let's know how to copy things that we see on social media today. If you look at it critically, probably she has been following maybe some similar situations, all right, on social media. And maybe some persons will like, okay, at the end of the day, on whose neck do I hang this? Because there was a clause where she said, well, it's one big man's child. Meaning she even knew the person that did it. So these are so many things. We just heard of a rape case having to do with Neo, the one-time BB Naija star and all of that. And there's so many, I don't know what this rape thing is resulting to. I don't know what some people stand to gain coming out to say this and that. Because if you investigate this seriously, you will know that there is an undertone. And there could be more people involved in this whole saga than just Mirabel alone, this lady.
Thank you so much, Ramsey. To add to this, I'm just going to say that a lot of persons, have been coming up. It might not just be rape. It might be allegation, false, accusation upon some other persons. I've been seeing it playing out on mostly celebrities. A lot of persons will just come out, say one thing about a celebrity, something that is false. And a lot of celebrities right now are saying, you know what, we have had it up to here and we're not taking it anymore. And so much, we've seen so many persons, sue people for millions of naira and say, we are not going to have you defame our names outside, of course. So yes, please, if you are going through a lot, you should know that another person is going through a lot. I always tell people, if you come to me and tell me, oh, I'm going through a lot, I'll tell you, we are all going through a lot in different lanes. We're all going through a lot, but hanging something that is wrong on someone's neck is very, very wrong. You shouldn't do that because it's very wrong. I'm sure she's definitely going to serve some term in jail or maybe in prison, or if they're kind to her enough, of course, maybe take her to a therapist who is going to check her properly. Thank you so much once again, Ramsey Enokagbo, for your contribution to today's topic. All right, this is where we close the curtains for Social Buzz here on Global Morning, and I'll be leaving you in the hands of Ramsey and, of course, Jumai to usher us into the discussion section of Global Morning. So stay with us. Good morning once again, Nigeria and viewers around the world. I am Ogochukwu Mobuno. Bye for now.
New Imo is on the rise. In the beating heart of Owerri, business never sleeps. From sunrise to sundown, the wheels keep turning. And behind the scenes, vision meets action. Governor Hope Uzodinma's leadership has left the pages of manifestos to become real actions and achievements. Transformations that piece by piece feels like a miracle. But progress needs peace to thrive. And in Imo, we are not leaving it to chance. From land to sky to river deep, guardians are always watching, protecting dreams and opportunities. If you go to the quiet shore of Orashi Power, you will see the awakening of a hydropower roaring to electrify and energize a blossoming economy. The change is visible. The heartland of the East is under construction as new roads are threading together once forgotten places. Industry is humming again and communities are alive. At the center of it all, a digital revolution is rising. A new ministry with a new mission. Not just cables and codes, but capacity. 500,000 young minds trained each year to build a digital future. And as Orashi Power goes up, so does Imo, lifting with it the hopes of a hard-working people. A new Imo is on the rise.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning.
For the latest issues,
always on point.
Watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
New Imo.
Well, you can't talk about Nigeria without talking about democracy. And of course, where are we as it has to do with democratic governance in Nigeria? Well, one of the things that a lot of people will tell you is that we are not where we want to be yet. And a lot of people are doing comparisons, say, look at America. America has been in this space for a very long time, and look at where they are. Is it electoral malpractices that you want to talk about? Is it jumping ship? Is it defection? Which one do you want to talk about? It also happens outside Nigeria. How free and fair can an election be? All right, not just in Nigeria, but in the world as a whole, especially under democracy. Let's look at the preparedness of the electoral umpire. For instance, the INEC, who are always shouldered with the responsibility of conducting free and fair elections in Nigeria, like every Nigerian will crave for. How prepared do you think they are? A lot of people have said, well, the issue of Electoral Act is not just the problem that we have in this country. We saw the reaction from civil society organizations, we saw reaction from oppositions, we saw reactions from Nigerians, to the extent that some people even protested. And we have some very big names joining the protest. But where are we now? It's been signed already. So we're working towards the actualization of this process. But one very good thing for me is the fact that INEC has not come out to complain one day, all right, to say, well, we are not prepared. It is sudden. We can't meet up the time between now and 2027. Already, our timetable is out. So INEC is just minding its business, doing what they know how to do. But then, if you even want to talk about elections in Nigeria, who are the actors when it comes to free and fair elections? Do you know that the technology, we're talking about technology here. If we want to take ourselves back a little bit, memory lane, we'll begin to talk about the card reader, we'll begin to talk about the BVAS, before we even come to talk about e-transmission of result and all of that. But the possibility, the assignment lies more on the shoulders of INEC. And INEC have even come out to say, well, technology is important, but then is that all we need to have free and fair elections? Some people of the school of thought that, okay, you're talking about technology. Does technology operate itself in isolation? A human being, man, must operate on this tech, this technology, this equipment to make it work. You know, so a lot of people, we are really going to talk about this today on the program.
You know what, talking about INEC, there was a news report that says INEC has stated clearly its ability to transmit election results for more than 92% of the country's polling unit locations. Now, according to INEC, the remaining 8%, where there is presently limited coverage, can be easily addressed by paying telecom companies to deploy mobile-based stations retrievable after elections.
That's coming from INEC.
That's coming from INEC. So it means that they can actually do it, the e-transmission that we're all vouching for and all of that, except under maybe strained circumstances. Now, technology is key, is very important. The world is evolving. Really, Ramsey, if you look at every other advanced countries, they don't struggle as much when it comes to election processes. We are left with the courts, the law, when there is a miscount or when they say it's rigged or something. But you know, this is going to change if this is done correctly, starting from if it's done correctly, this is going to change and impact electoral processes in Nigeria. It means you and I, an ordinary Nigerian, can actually sit and watch our votes being counted. We can see it for ourselves. No one will manipulate any result. But at the same time, you heard what our dear president said. He says, for as much as we're going into transmission, the backup, it has to be manual. And then he said something yesterday on the program. Of course, we know that when it's manual, it could be altered or changed. But I pray that we can just continue with the e-transmission when it comes to electoral processes, so that we will see the transparency, accountability that we're all vouching and talking about. See, other countries have evolved much more than what we see now. They have evolved when it comes to electoral processes, when it comes to way of doing things, not the old days. Things are evolved. Technology has come to stay. Technology is doing a lot when it comes to these areas. And I think we should make the better use of it. The sooner the better, for the betterment of Nigerians and, of course, Nigeria.
Yes, of course. I think you said something very vital. That is the percentage.
Yes.
Okay.
They said 92%. Yes. They are good.
92% is a pass mark.
It's a pass mark.
High. That is very high for me. So if INEC is coming out to say, well, we're 92% ready
yes,
to cover polling units in Nigeria, then it means it's good to go.
Yes.
Because even the manual, there are some places that there could be, all right, some irregularities, maybe gone are the days. I think we're going beyond the era of ballot box snatching.
Of course.
I think people are doing away with that. It's becoming a cake.
Yes,
but then, one thing is standing out for me. Suggestion. If we must go this route, there is need for the authorities to sit with INEC and look at the possibility of achieving this real-time e-transmission of results.
Very important.
Someone said, when you say real-time, it means it's going to be more like an electronic voting, which Nigeria is not so ripe for, according to some experts, some school of thought.
Agree.
And some persons will tell you what we meant is do these elections, get it snapped, and it should hit of course, where it's supposed to be the center, all right, immediately, everyone should see what is happening at every polling unit. So the issue of INEC saying they are ready, I think that solves the problem. And we are going to see that practicalized in this FCT election that is going to be happening tomorrow. But I'm sure they may not have all the equipment that they need, because this is just tomorrow that we're talking about.
Well, I think the FCT, the election that's going to be ongoing tomorrow is like we're going to use them as test run when it comes to these areas, and that's why I'm not so particular. But at the same time, when will we ever be ready? So let's just start.
No, I think is going to. I feel it's going to make INEC ready. From this now, you will know where there are loopholes.
Exactly.
All right. Then you know what to do and what not to do.
True.
In the next election, I think the ultimate election that a lot of people are looking forward to is the 2027 election.
Oh yes.
But I love the area where INEC is suggesting that should there are locations where there is no strong network, because almost everywhere in Nigeria now there are internet services, but we'll talk about the strength of the signal. All right, places like that, they've said, okay, speak with the internet service providers, maybe some of these telcos. They should do maybe a standby internet service for just the purpose of this election. A lot is being voted for elections in Nigeria, and we should be able to do that if it is what we need to have a free and fair election.
For me, I feel that's what we need, because we need transparency as much as we can. We need accountability. It's very important. And for me, I think this is the right way to go about it. This is the right direction. So everyone sees it. I can monitor. You can monitor. It doesn't matter wherever you are. You can monitor and see the results. It's very important that you see how it is being played out. No one does. Back in the day, I know Beavers, we tried, INEC, they try as much as possible to evolve in their own space, in their own right. But at the same time, I think we can do much more better. And I think this is the right step in the right direction, giving us that leverage, giving us that edge, at least to a little bit of competition when it comes to individuals in the outside Nigeria. It's very important that we start this. If we say that we're not ready, yes, I know we're not ready, but let's just start. Once you start, day by day it will improve. 2027 is around the corner, like you said. We need to get it right now. And we're going to use the electoral process of tomorrow as a, what will I call it now, as a bait?
Yes,
or will I say
it's going to
test
be
run?
Some form of litmus test
exactly.
for Amupitan. Well, that of Anambra was partly part of what we're talking about. Then if we're talking about e-transmission, all of this is in a bid to have a free and fair election.
Yes.
What about people who are all determined to make sure this election is not free and fair? Well, they want to ensure it goes their way. You know, there are people like that. They want to make sure the election, if it doesn't go their way, it means it wasn't free and fair.
Yes.
You know how it happens in Nigeria? The moment anything is not in your way,
in your favor,
if it doesn't go that your way, the way you really want it, it's not free and fair. Or it's either there were manipulation. It's not even elections alone. A lot of Nigerians, if anything happens and it's not favoring them, this seems to fault that system. So while talking about this now, have they put up sanctions or penalties, let me call it punishments, for electoral offenders? All right, the issue of 10 years imprisonment, all right, that was put forth. Do we really have it in place? Because one of the things that will even scare people, I know all of the fight, all of the struggle for e-transmission real time is to avoid election rigging.
Very true.
We've heard of vote buying severally at different locations, in different places during elections in Nigeria. In fact, an analyst told me here on my program categorically that he has been a witness to it severally.
Wow.
So that is one of the things. If we want to say, okay, there should be retransmission of election results,
which will go a long way,
real time, which will go a long way. Can that handle the problem of election rigging, malpractices?
I think because in a way,
people who do the vote buying, people who buy and sell votes, they should be prosecuted.
Sure.
Then people who are involved, they should be tried. People who are involved in electoral malpractices, the punishment should be spelled out. I think that could even scare people from involving themselves, even though some are all out, they want to do anything.
By hook or by crook.
By hook or by crook, to make sure they get it done their way.
And that is why this e-transmission, when it comes to the election that is oncoming, is the best. I think it will curb all of those menaces.
Are you sure?
Yes, I think it will.
100%?
100%. For me, I'm just saying, as you might know. Because we are monitoring.
It's still going to be operated by human beings.
I know, but at the same time, you are monitoring.
There are some things that I can't say on air right now, but there was an election that I monitored during the era of Beavers, and you'll be surprised what happened.
That's Beavers. But I'm telling you, now everyone's hands are on deck, not just the electoral bodies, but you and I, the ordinary Nigerians. We can monitor. We see if there is any shade, we'll all see it. It's visible. That's why there is transparency. That's why everyone are coming, and there's an outrage when it comes to this e-transmission, because we know that it's going to be for the greater good of. It might not favor all. Really might not, but at least there will be transparency and we'll all see the results. The common Nigerian can actually monitor on his or her device. We're seeing everything. So if there's any alteration, we'll all see it. So it's very important.
But there's something that we mustn't see. This is not about a sentiment. This is not about anything. But truth be said, we're in the era of technology.
Yes,
we're talking about machines here.
Yes.
All right? Anything can happen. I've seen a new car coming from the factory, break down on the road.
Yes, I have.
A new car, there could be factory errors. All right, anything can happen.
Yes.
So the issue of having an alternative in case.
Yeah, that's the manual.
Because the manual is standing by the side in case anything happens. We're not saying, what they said is, we are not against the usage, all right, of the e-transmission. The e-transmission should be there, but in case anything happens, fall back to this. And it's still the same thing. What does it mean? It's just to snap the paper and send it real time.
Yes.
All right. I think you just snap the manual. Everyone is there. The delegates are there, okay, from the different parties after counter-signing. Just snap it and send it immediately.
As it is.
As it is.
Don't wait.
But it should be the same thing with what is actually coming from the register, because sometimes you hear over voting, the issue of overvoting. These are the number of people that registered at this polling unit, but a lot of people voted more than the number, and all of that, it becomes another work again. Then if you want to even talk about election, a lot of people look at INEC. What about the independent officers? All right, people who just go to help in election and all of that, who are not really part of INEC. You understand? Volunteers. We could have volunteers. We could also have people who are just part of the election for that period. So all of these people, we need a lot of training. We need a lot of sensitization.
Yes, we do.
And we need a lot of people that have good conscience.
Yes.
A lot of people that cannot be bought over. Then you even want to talk about how much are these people being paid, and peradventure, how much are these other people trying to offer them and all of that. You put all these things, put them into consideration, take it into consideration before decisions are being made, before protests are being made, before agreement and disagreements come up. All right. We will do a very, very elaborate discussion with our guests on this, because we're talking about technology here.
Yes, we are.
But in technology, there are still some other areas that we need to look at, because sometimes it's easier said than done.
I completely understand.
Yes, it's easier said than done. It's when you get to the field that you begin to see the reality of these things. Everyone will want to embrace e-transmission, but then there should be an alternative in case anything happens.
I understand.
So that is it. All right, we'll take a quick break. After this break, we'll have our guests join us as we look at this topic and, of course, the technology aspect of it, what people are saying, what we understand, especially the layman or the layman's understanding is different from what the real experts may be saying concerning this transmission of election results real time. Global Morning continues after this break.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
Watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
New Imo is on the rise. In the beating heart of Owerri, business never sleeps. From sunrise to sundown, the wheels keep turning. And behind the scenes, vision meets action. Governor Hope Uzodinma's leadership has left the pages of manifestos to become real actions and achievements. Transformations that piece by piece feels like a miracle. But progress needs peace to thrive, and in Imo, we are not leaving it to chance. From land to sky to river deep, guardians are always watching, protecting dreams and opportunities. If you go to the quiet shore of Orashi Power, you will see the awakening of a hydropower roaring to electrify and energize a blossoming economy. The change is visible. The heartland of the East is under construction as new roads are threading together once forgotten places. Industry is humming again and communities are alive. At the center of it all, a digital revolution is rising. A new ministry with a new mission. Not just cables and codes, but capacity. 500,000 young minds trained each year to build a digital future. And as Orashi Power goes up, so does Imo, lifting with it the hopes of a hard-working people. A new Imo is on the rise.
Of course, there have been a lot of arguments and debates concerning election process in Nigeria. And of course, more so that the issue of retransmission, of course, has been at the front burner. But then, this is not the first time Nigeria is employing technology into elections in Nigeria, the usage of tech. In any way, it could be a card reader, of course, it could be beavers, it could be whatever you want to call it. What about the laptop that is being used? What about the thumb printing? All of these are technologies that operate in different ways, contributing to the processes of election in Nigeria. Then, the human factor are also there. When you want to talk about free and fair election, there are so many things that needs to be taken into cognizance, not just the technology alone, but for these few days and looking at 2027, including the FCT election going on tomorrow, a lot of people have put their attention on the e-transmission of election results. Some people say real time. Some persons will say, well, if you say real time, what's your definition of real time? Are you talking about electronic voting here? But then all of this put together, you can't do this, whether with a human factor, whether with tech. You can't separate these two. Tech has a major role it plays in the process of elections in Nigeria. We have an expert who is going to be joining us on the conversation this beautiful morning. And of course, on our own part, we've been able to say one or two things about the election in Nigeria, especially as it has to do with governance. But now, I want to look at the electoral process itself, the prospect of technology in Nigeria's election. Is it going to do us more good, or is it going to do us harm? Or we should expect the two put together. Joining us on the conversation this morning is an election technology expert in the person of Charles Goriola. It's good to have you join us on the program.
Thank you so much.
Good morning, Mr. Charles. Thank you for being on the program.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us. So, you are aware of the ups and downs, the transmission of election result.
Yes.
What role, all right, before we go into talking about the election, the e-transmission of election result, what is the importance of technology as far as electoral process is concerned in Nigeria?
I think technology is everything about it, right? And if you look at the way we have transited in terms of technology in our elections, right? You remember when there was the issue of beavers, right? And accreditation. Now we move to what we call IREF, right? Where we can look at the Form EC8A. Now, if you look at our elections, the most important thing is what happens at the polling unit, right? And the scroll of what happened in the polling unit is this thing they call Form EC8A. After an election is right now we're still doing manual voting. So when an election is conducted, the ballot papers are sorted, they are counted, then the presiding officer brings out a form that is called the EC8A. In this form, the first section will describe the polling unit details. Right. The second section describes the number of registered voters, the number of accredited voters, and the rest. The third place capture the votes of the individual political parties. Right. So at the end of the day, the single source of truth in any election is the Form EC8A. So where we are now is that there is this thing they call IREF, where they are now supposed to. But they've been doing it since, I think in the presidential election, there was a debate, there was a delay. Instead for it to start coming up at the close of election, they could not upload till 12 in the midnight, but they uploaded anyway, which will bring us to the question of real time. Now, but if you look at the Anambra State election, by 7 o'clock that day, I think if you go to IREF, most of the Form EC8A are already in IREF. So where we are right now is that at least we can know what has happened in every single polling unit if they upload that Form EC8A, because that form contains the records of the votes. And if you look at it, the challenge with rigging of election is not that they can rig enough polling units, right? Because in fairness, all the agents of all the political parties are there. The supporters, if you look at election these days, you see that supporters too, they stay behind. They count. They know the count of the parties, and they are aware of the Form ECATA. So if anybody will manipulate anything, right, and the party agents, you know, they have a copy of the Form ECATA. So the problem is not, it's the inability for us to make it transparent. That was the problem we were having before. But with IRF and the new technology, it will become easy for everybody to see what the Form ECATA contains from every single polling unit.
All right, let's get to the issue of maturity as a nation, because Nigeria as a country, as it is right now, every time that we've used technology in our election processes, we've had situations whereby you will see one failure, malfunction, or the other. What's your rating? What would you say about Nigeria's level of maturity for the adoption of technology in our electoral process?
So, we are not yet there. We're not yet matured. And that's why, but what we know is that we're moving forward, right? And what we have right now is that if there is an election, I'll give you an example. In the last time election, we were monitoring the IRF for Anambra State, right? Anambra State has 5,700 polling units in that election, and we monitored it. And we found that well, they did not all come in real time, right? But eventually, about 95% of the of the ECATA were being uploaded. Now, you know, when you talk about technology, there are a lot of factors. A lot of factors. The network connectivity could be a problem. The internet availability, not at the server end, even at the polling unit end, is a factor. So there are so many factors. So that's why we say you cannot legislate real time, because you cannot guarantee real time. You can't legislate something you don't have control over. Even in marriage, they will say, until death do what part, because you can't guarantee that part of it. So this argument about real time, that maybe they should not put that clause there, maybe this doesn't really hold water, otherwise you are inviting anarchy. You get what I'm saying? Okay, because what happens is that tomorrow, on Saturday, there will be an election in the FCT.
Yes.
Okay, FCT has only 2,822 polling units, right? We cannot guarantee that in each of those polling units, right, that when the election ends, because the rule is, the normal process is, once an election is over, the presiding officer, after they have counted and done everything, we scan the Form ECATA to the server. That's what they call the IRF. There is no guarantee that in the entire 2,082 that they will be able to do it at the same time. But even if they want to, even if they can do it at the same time, what about the server congestion? You cannot, if you look at concurrency in a server, some servers can only admit maybe 100 records at the same time. So if you come in with more, it has to kill you. So that's not real time. And if the network, if you look at Nigeria's network, they fluctuate. You get what I'm saying? Even the banks, they can't guarantee that you get SMS notification immediately after your transaction. I don't know whether you have experienced a situation where you do a transaction, right? And your SMS comes about 2, 3, 4 hours. Now, it might not even be from the side of the bank. You get what I'm saying? Maybe your own internet is down. So connectivity is very important. It's not, even if the bank is up, right? If your own connectivity in that location, and in Nigeria, unfortunately, even sometimes weather affects technology. So we are there. But this idea that you can legislate it, you can make a law and not put a clause like some people are arguing, it's not possible. In fact, I'm asking, when I look at the TV and I see people make this argument that why is there a clause? Why is there a back, something you can fall back on? We're not saying that an election will take place, and in all the polling unit, they will say they cannot upload. But if you don't put that condition, what about if you upload in 2,000 an 800 polling unit, but you cannot upload immediately in 22 polling units, and somebody goes to court and say the law says you must upload. So there is a rule, even in America, they don't legislate what they don't have control about. You can't legislate reality. And the reality is that technology will fail and technology is not guaranteed. So that's what I can say about that.
All right, Mr. Charles, you know, INEC, there was a statement INEC made yesterday and said they're 92% ready and 80% if there is hitches in other areas where you need a telecoms company to come and, to like a backup or to give you that network that you need. Now, assuming this e-transmission goes smoothly tomorrow, let's preempt that now. How will, for instance, how will technology transform electoral process in the coming years in Nigeria? Because other countries have evolved when it comes to electoral processes.
Okay. So the good news is that we have actually evolved. Thank God to a technology called AI. Okay. So when you look at it, our company, SoftSmart Enterprise, we did a test run in the Anambra election, and you will be seeing it fully live tomorrow on during the EC. So what happens is this. There is something on paper, right? So the problem with EC8 now is that it's written on paper. So if there is a technology that can transform that thing that is written in paper to digital, it's like you need to move from analog to digital, then take it to the database and display it. So tomorrow what Nigerians will experience is this. In the 2,822 polling units, right? Once they upload to the HiRef, right? Our system will download the Form EC8, it will read it, it will verify it, right? And then like it happens in the United States and everywhere, you will now see it like a scorecard. It's like a viewing center. You see all the candidates, you see the result coming up. So I think that with the advent of AI technology, and AI has solved the issue, a lot of the technology bottlenecks we would have had. So it is not a technology that is coming. AI technology is already here, and it has been deployed to solve the biggest problem, which is OCR. The OCR technology used to be that there is a task problem with blurring and writing.
Sorry, what's the full meaning of OCR?
Artificial intelligence.
Okay.
Artificial intelligence. OCR is the scanning, OCR, optical recognition of things, right? So the whole game has changed, and that's why our company will demonstrate it tomorrow, demonstrate it in national election, Ekiti election, and so on. So that's where we are right now in technology in Nigeria, and the journey towards what I call transparency in our elections.
You know, when before you came in, my co-anchor, we were talking about how is it possible that with all of this technology, there will not be any alteration? That is it possible that someone can actually bring, because hey, this technology is being handled by human beings.
Yes.
So will we say that with technology, that's the e-transmission, it's going to go smooth sail without any alteration, without it being rigged or any of those sorts?
Okay, thank you so much. There's something I want to call traceability, right? Let's say you have a dispute somewhere, and there's a document you can go back to, right? To trace, for example, there is an election. We have 2,822 polling units. That means we are going to have 2,822 EC8A forms that would be uploaded, right? And the sum of each of these EC8A forms is what will make the totality of each person's election or votes, right? So I come out and say, look, I've been rigged, right? It means that if I go back to my Form EC8A, because my agent was there in that polling unit, so I go back, I would have to prove that I was rigged, the Form EC8 was altered. Even in our system, once the Form EC8 is altered, the system will mark it. It will mark it. Because if you see the Form EC8A, the agents actually sign it. The police actually signed it. And the party supporters around are actually aware of the votes of their candidates in that polling unit. That's why I say that the EC8A is the single source of truth. In as much as every result can be traced back to this source of truth, then it's almost like you have a CCTV camera here. Somebody comes in to steal, right? No matter what he does, in as much as you can play back the CCTV camera and see that this is the guy,
of course.
It is. So that's what I call transparency. Traceability leads to transparency.
Yes, it does.
And that is what we are, that's where we are now. I think it will be very, very difficult with the latest AI technology to rig an election. And if you rig it, the other guy can simply prove that you have rigged him. Because all he needs to do, unlike before, you are going to INEC to ask for your Form ECAT. You just, if you come to us, we give you all the Form ECAT for the elections, right? And then you will now see, was it altered? Did my agent sign it? Now, then the other thing will be by how much? One polling unit might have 200 votes, right? So you can't say that because you have problem in 10 polling units, right? Which is less than 2,000 votes, and you lost the election by 300,000, right? It means that even if they give you all the votes in that polling unit, you will not win. It's almost like you take an exam and you won't go to the lecturer and say, look, this score is not correct. Okay, let's go and see your papers. Let's see what is there. Let's look at the answers you provided to the questions. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it is the traceability from ECAT through the instrumentality of the technology we have now, the AI technology. That's why I said AI has changed the rules of election.
It has. And that is what this brings me to my next question now. You know, back in the day when we had BVAS and all of that, we had multiple streams of individuals coming in, all hands on deck when it comes to electoral processes. Now with technology, it reduces the workload, it reduces human capacity and all of that. Is it the same method?
Thank you so much for that. Let me look at the scenario we have in the manual process of collation.
Okay.
So they finish the election in the polling unit, right? So they take the Form ECAT to where they will call the ward headquarters, right? So they will rent a place, there will be people there. They will now collate at the ward level. Then they will take it to the local government level. Then if it's a governorship election, they take it to the state. But with the new technology, this is being digitally collated at all levels, instantly. So if polling unit A is in Ward B, right? If you upload the election, don't forget that it is collated at that level. So you know the ward result, right? And the local government result is the collation of all the ward result. And the governorship state level election result is the collation at local government.
Okay.
So instantly, we now have what I call digital collation. So we are in a room here, right? And the election is being collated. That's why when you watch election night in America, immediately the vote close, right? There's even something they do. There's something they look at the prediction, the direction the election is going, and they will know. For example, we were doing the Anambra election. Around 7, we saw that Soludo was already ahead with 72%. And that there is no way from the pattern across all polling units, across local governments, across wards. So our predictive engine, algorithm, went to work and said, look, this election, he even predicted the figures the election will end with.
And it was accurate.
He said the final result is 422, right? And we only missed it by 120 votes because 422,100. You know why he can do that?
Why?
You see, there is a pattern of voting that you can know at the beginning. And if there will be changes, you will know. Okay. The first thing in our system we looked at for in the Anambra state election is this. We realized that, for example, Peter Obi is in ADC, right? And he campaigned for the candidate of the ADC. So when the results were coming in, we monitored his polling unit and the polling unit in Anambra local government. Once we saw that the pattern is not reflecting that it can change the direction of the election, we then look at the historical part, right? We looked at all the result coming in from all the local government, Ayamelum, Anocha, Aguata. We saw that is a pattern. So we knew, the system knew, so the system waited to get at least result from across, from maybe 1,000 polling units. He used that as something, and then he told us, he said, look, this election is going to end 74% APGA. And we knew it's going to end like that. Because it's not a new technology. This is the technology they deployed in America. On CNN, on Fox News, they don't wait till the end of an election. Once a pattern emerges, right, you will know the way that election is going.
All right, if we have all those...
one more question to just in line with that. I'm sorry, Ramsey, just one more question. Now, you kept making reference to America, Fox News.
Yes.
These are advanced countries. They do not have bad, or will I say epileptic power when it comes to Nigeria. It's smooth run. It's a smooth, so we see how they conduct their elections.
Yeah.
Immediately it's being conducted. The numbers are up and it's running.
Yes.
You can actually see it. It's accurate.
Yes,
you see it.
yes.
But here in Nigeria, we have epileptic power. We have, like you mentioned, stagnation when it comes to power on its own. Now, we know that machines, you cannot predict machines,
Yes.
which is technology. What if at the course of the election, there is a shutdown?
Where? In the 2000, no, let's look at the whole scenarios. The polling units, right? So there is a polling unit in Gwagwalada, in Abadi, so we are saying like thunder cannot just strike at the same time in 2082 places.
True, very true.
So on that part. Now let's look at the server. Take our, when we that were monitoring, I'm using a laptop, right? So even if there is no light, my battery can function my laptop, right?
You have a backup?
Oh, yeah, of course I have a backup.
Okay.
Then, of course, if you see, we have like 3 internet or 4 internet access.
Okay.
In America, the guy will just know that the one he has is working. In this one, you say, if MTN breaks down, I will use this one.
Yes.
If this one breaks down, I will use this one.
Yes.
So we have our own approach to solving the problem. So now, even as much as I can guarantee connectivity. You get what I'm saying? And I can guarantee my server, right?
Okay.
The strength of my server. So I'm left with network in my environment. What the problem is how can I control the environment in 2082 locations?
Exactly.
Okay, so this is the solution. So these people, what they can do is that means you cannot upload in real time, right? But you are finished. Move to where there is network and upload. That's all.
Okay.
That's the solution to that. So the clause real time is the danger, right? And thank God the people in the National Assembly saw that it was a trap. I'll tell you the truth. Those who are pushing for real time, right? They know what they are doing. The same people will turn around in an election, right? And go and litigate that because internet failed in one polling unit, they should cancel because they knew they failed the election now. It's like a student that didn't do very well in the exam and they cancel the whole exam.
Exactly.
They look for excuse.
Exactly.
That's just what it's doing.
All right, let's come back to free and fair election. All of these things is in a bid to have a free and fair election in Nigeria. Like what you are saying now, we don't know. INEC say they are ready 90%, and that's a pass mark. That's to say they are ready 92%. With this technology that you're talking about now, we don't know what INEC have on their own part. But as it is right now, can we now say with this, we can say bye-bye to election malpractices in Nigeria? Because from what you are saying, you seem to be sounding like, well, elections will not be riggable in Nigeria if we employ technology.
So let's put it like this. I give you a guarantee that if there is an election and it is rigged, I use the analogy of the CCTV camera. You put a CCTV camera in this place, right? And somebody sneaked inside there, maybe it's your staff, and stole something. You know he successfully stole it, right? But it is traceable. You can say, oh, you came at so time. So now what do we have? We have this from EC8A now that is verifiable, that is traceable, right? It then means that if you say they rigged the election, let's just take FCT tomorrow. There are 2,822 EC8A forms. And the summation of the result is the individual result in each of those EC8A, right? So nobody can come and say they rigged me. If you say they rigged me, okay, fine. In what polling unit? In what? And then you can just present it. In polling unit A, I scored 50. They cancelled it and they said I scored 10. Okay, where is the alteration or whatever? Well, so you go to court, or it's so obvious that it is traceable that they read to. Take Anambra election, for example. You can observe that INEC was so impressive that day. By 6 o'clock that day, most of us cannot even catch up with them. Most of our server cannot catch up with the rate they were uploading. Okay, so in that election, it is obvious that anybody that wants to dispute anything, who can say, oh, in so local government, election did not take place. Okay, were from ECATA uploaded. Did your agent sign those from ECATA that were uploaded? So these are, there are two parts to this technology. In Nigeria, we have the problem of sole losers. No matter how free and fair an election is, I'm telling you the truth, they will come around and say, oh, the election was rigged.
Yeah.
Because it didn't go in their favor.
It didn't go in their favor.
Oh, yes.
But if you look at the Anambra, it was so obvious. I was waiting for anybody to come out and say, oh, this election is rigged. In our system, we have all the 5,700 ECATA. I can print it within 2 hours, each one of them. Now, the system also identifies alteration, right? Because if you look at that thing, they use Biro, they say Labour Party or ADC or APC, 50-40. Then your agent signs beside it. So it means on that day of that election, your agent knows the vote you score. And in any event, I don't know whether you guys have observed this phenomenon. Party supporters don't quickly leave where the election, after the election, even as they're counting.
Especially in 2023.
Yes, you see them counting with everything. So everybody knows the vote of each candidate in each polling unit.
Oh, all right. As it is now, we're trying to see the possibility of a process. Looking at the processes of elections in Nigeria, what do you think can be done? Because if you're talking about the rigging of election, vote buying is election rigging, all right? And there are other forms of rigging election apart from the ones that we could see. What do you think should be done by the authorities? Like we said, the INEC is the umpire in charge of the conduct of elections in Nigeria. But then they still have ad hoc staffs and the security agency and other players in the process. What do you think can be done as an expert to have a fully sanitized process in our elections?
Let me be frank with you. We cannot isolate our culture, the people we are, what we do, right? And we think that when election will come, we will change, we will be different from what we are in our daily, what we really are. Take the issue of vote buying. Take all these things. We can control technology to an extent. We can deploy technology, right? But how do you change the orientation of people if this is the way they look at things, right? You can use legislation to deter people from doing certain things. And I understand they try to put laws, right? We can do more of enlightenment, more of education, right? But at the end of the day, it's still going to be that the people would have to change, right? And this change we're talking about, it has to be that from what they do in the other areas of their life, right? Somebody that is already doing something wrong in one area will not automatically on the day of election become a saint. So it's a difficult thing, but public enlightenment, education, law enforcement, maybe it will go a long way.
You now, as an expert, because from the analogies you gave, your company is doing so much, and you have a system put in place that seems to be, at least to a large extent, working, all right? And you are a technology expert. Are you in alliance with INEC in any way?
Okay, so this is the way I look at it. So INEC uploads it to the IRF, right? And the first thing I want to do is that I want to be in alliance with the private sector, with the media. Are you getting me? Because you see, INEC still have a trust issue to deal with. You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
So the first thing we need to do is, no matter what INEC does, the doubters will still doubt INEC. So let's have the technology. You see this technology we developed. Let other people too develop it. If the parties are, let them, even the political parties, let them, it's almost like when I have a calculator with me and we're arguing over the sum of something. I take out my calculator, I calculate. You take out your own, you calculate. You get what I'm saying? So, but if we allow this technology to be with INEC, right? Oh, people will say, no, INEC, this. But when everybody has the technology and you deploy it, the beautiful thing about technology is that input, process, output. You can manipulate it. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So let's have some kind of independence in this kind of, because it's an AI technology. Whoever wants to have it, let's have, just like we have different accounting programs. So if I do my tax computation in my accounting program, and we are disputing, you do it in your accounting program, under normal circumstances, we get the same result if we follow the right formula. So my own is, I've not approached INEC because I feel that we need to make this system, let the system prove itself from the private sector. You get what I'm saying? On the issue of INEC is that they have published the results on the IREF, right? What you do with it, I equate this to me opening a viewing center. There's a Premier League going on. Are you getting me? Those who cannot afford the DSTV subscription, right? In my beer parlor, I put you can come and buy drinks and watch it. I put the TV. We're just like a viewing center. We're just like a mirror. We're just looking at what INEC is presenting, right? And then we are processing it in a way that people can understand.
But at the same time, for me, before I ask my next question, I think for the betterment of Nigeria and the Nigerians, I think it's better to work hand in hand with INEC, because it is the most recognized electoral board in Nigeria.
Yes. Because it's going to help more. If you have the same results, they have the same results. There's going to be unanimousness and clarity and credibility.
Yes. I think we're trying to talk. Important. But let me tell you one thing that is good as well. Let's say INEC uses a system. They come, look at what happened in Anambra. When INEC eventually the next day announced the winner, even though we knew the winner by 9 p.m. the previous day, we arrived at the same thing. There's no way we would not.
Fantastic.
You get what I'm saying?
Fantastic.
There's no way we would not, because the source of what we're getting, they were summing up EC8A. We are summing up EC8A. Their own EC8A. The only thing is that while our own system did it digitally, they were doing it manually. That's the only difference.
And there was no manipulation from their side. That's why we were able to have this.
Yes, there was no manipulation. So, see, with this thing, it will be very difficult for INEC, even if they want to. With the IREF, right, and the technology that goes with it, it will be so difficult for anybody to ring election. I keep talking about CCTV. Yes, you can come in and steal that thing, but we saw you on the CCTV that is, you better run away, or else we come and catch you.
Now let me ask my next question. You know how it is. This is something new when it comes to technology in Nigeria. And most individuals, we already have, I'll say we already, because we already have a mindset about election processes, how it goes, and most people are really reluctant when it comes to going out. Some will tell you they don't even have their PVCs, and some will tell you on that day of staying at home, they will be at home watching TV and sleeping. Now, with this latest technology, how can it increase voters' participation and confidence, especially amongst the youth?
Thank you. So, I think every time you increase transparency, right, you will increase confidence. In as much, if people, initially, let's say we deploy the technology tomorrow, some people watch. Okay, let's see again. They see it a second time. They see it a third time. And with the assistance of the media, we're able to explain it to them. A time will come, anything that is transparent, you can go and find out anywhere. The confidence of the people will increase. So it's the transparency of the process that this technology and all these things are improving that will lead to higher confidence. So they will now be sure that my vote will count. And at that point in time, the confidence of the youth will increase. Because right now, in situations where we have, even in the 2023 presidential election, do you know that the percentage turnout is still less than 30%?
In 2023?
Which is, please go and cross-check. I'm shocked. that the percentage turnout is when you look at the total number of registered voters versus the total numbers of accredited voters, which are the people that really turned up for that.
Yes.
It's less than 30%. And that 2023 would have been when you thought a lot of youth came out.
Exactly, yes.
So that's one of the things we need to find out. Why would it be that we want to have election and 100 million will register for the election, and at the end of the election, only 10, 20 million? What happened to the 80 million? Where did they go? What are they doing?
I think we have
meaning there's issue of trust.
Thank you, and that's what we're trying to address. If they have that trust, right? Because in 2023, they actually took one step. The youth came out, right?
Yes.
So what should happen next is that if the votes count, but we need to give a proviso. So you voted around Abuja FCT, right? And your candidate is very popular in Abuja FCT. It does not mean that your candidate is popular in Zamfara. So to be president of Nigeria, your candidate has to add a threat.
Very true.
Because that's another misunderstanding people are having. I remember, if you look at the 1979 election, Shibopapemi Awolowo scored 98% of the votes in the Southwest, right? And in the other part of Nigeria, he did not score enough to win. But if you were just in the Southwest, then you would say, they rigged him. And that's what they were saying. No, they rigged him. Not knowing that the vote to be president of Nigeria is a summation of the votes across the country.
And populace is very important.
So meaning we have so much to do as it has to do with orientation.
It has to do, and the politicians themselves have to understand that you have to have grassroots support across
very importantly.
Because some politicians, they concentrate on a particular section or a particular, which can never make you a governor or anything.
That's the next question I wanted to ask, because majority of most of these problems, all right, like you said, well, if a particular candidate doesn't win, people will feel, well, it was been rigged. What are you doing, all right, to give, because we're talking about orientation now, grassroots inclusion and all of that, and this is the sole responsibility of the people who are vying for these positions, the politicians. But we saw what happened. Some were for, some were against, and all of that. What do you think can be done so that even the politicians will understand what you are doing now? Because it's going to go a long way helping the process of our election in Nigeria.
Thank you. So I throw it back at you, the media. You see, when you look at this thing, you are the guys who are supposed to filter. The politician will always do what the politician do. If you look at all these arguments, right, you see some people are advancing a particular kind of argument, right? And you will know that anytime a politician advances an argument, there's a motive, there's an interest attached to it. But what I expect the media to do is to be able to filter and educate the public and say, look, for example, I'm surprised when I see people come and say we should just say electronic transmission of result in real time. I think those who are saying it, they know that if you don't put a clause there, you are in big trouble because it's not guaranteed. You can't legislate what is not guaranteed. You can't legislate reality. And like I say to people, even in marriage, God recognizes and says, look, until death do apart, because you don't have control over death. So the bottom line is that politicians will always be politicians. There's nothing you can do about that. It is you guys in the media we're looking to now decipher the argument, right? To separate the wheat from the chaff and present the two sides in such a way that people can then make their judgment.
And then I'll throw the question back to you, Mr. Charles. We need more people like you to create this awareness for individuals to understand why technology is key, and of course, backing it up with transparency, accountability, and of course, everyone's hand should be on deck.
Thank you.
And another question, with all of this that's happening with e-transmission, and then the AGOG, what you mentioned when it comes to technology.
AI technology. AI is what is causing all this.
Artificial intelligence.
Is what is the technology that has transformed all this discussion we're having.
Yes.
It is because AI is the one, is that technology that has been able to make things, I can say is the leveler.
It's the leveler.
But it's AI manipulatable because you need to prompt.
Exactly.
Yeah, thank you. You see, we have different kinds of AI now. Don't let me bore you with the technical. We have generative.
Please bore me. I want to learn.
We have generative AI.
Okay.
We have agentic AI.
Okay.
We have over hundreds and hundreds tools of AI. So now the thing about tools is this: if I manipulate with this tool, except I want to manipulate with all the tools. It's almost like I go and do a calculator and I'm manipulating with this my calculator, right? And you have the original calculator with you. The moment you bring out your own calculator, whatever manipulation I put in my own calculator is gone.
For Mr. Charles, with the AI and all of that you've mentioned, who gets the credit now?
You see, that's the thing about AI.
Exactly.
If I have my way, right, we will start teaching AI in our secondary school, because this is another. You see, we miss the internet, right? AI has come. If we miss the AI revolution, we're in big trouble. Because let me tell you, every business we're doing now, AI is going to affect what we're doing in that business. There's one thing we call it 40 to 4 rule. I've been a software engineer for 25 years. Now, what I used to do in 40 hours, I do in 4 hours. When I deploy the AI tool, because the code, instead of me writing the code, I will prompt AI, do A, do B, do C. An architect can take, let me give you an example. What will take an architect 3 months to do before, he can deliver that job to you in 3 days. We're not saying AI will not replace, right? But AI just gives you the ability to say, instead of me doing it or deploying humans to do it for me, I'm saying do A, B, C, D for me. And what does it do? It does it in 10% of the time. It will take the humans, right? Don't forget that he has that memory. He knows all things.
And you say AI will not replace?
No, it will not replace the smart. Okay, AI cannot replace me because I'm already with AI. Are you getting what I'm saying? Okay. But AI will replace any engineer or software engineer that says, oh, what is AI? I'm not going to embrace AI. Of course, if I can develop something in 10 days, right, that will take him 100 days to develop. If I can develop it at the rate of maybe 10% of the cost he will develop it, right, I can sell it at 10% of his cost. So I will replace him. He likes it or not. Because if I come to you, something you are buying for 100 naira, and I say, look, I can give you this thing for 15 naira. You know, initially you want to be sure. I hope this guy is not trying to. But the moment you know that the same thing that guy, even better than what that guy wants to give you to for 100 is what there's no way you would turn to and start buying from me. That's why we say you like it, you don't like it. AI is here to stay. You are either with it AI or you are out of it, and you will be out of business very soon.
Well, if you get to INEC, for instance, now INEC is the umpire in charge of elections in Nigeria, and they are part of almost all the processes of elections. Now, we're talking about AI now. There are people in INEC, for instance, that are analog. That if you want to start talking about AI now,
listen.
in fact, they won't want to listen. All right. So, what do you think will be the implication of that, as it has to do with embracing AI in the conduct of election, in the electoral process in Nigeria? What would you think?
Okay, you guys were asking me, why did I not approach INEC first?
Exactly.
Before I did what I did? For a simple reason. If you had approached INEC, INEC might say we're not ready for AI. And truly, INEC might not be ready for AI in the next 4 years, right? But Nigeria is ready for AI. Nigeria is ready for election transparency. You get what I'm saying? But I want to guess, if INEC watches what we do tomorrow, if INEC is watching us, right? Someone in INEC will have to say, wait a minute, what's this guy talking about? Let's check it out, right? And if they check it out, and they see that it will save them in terms of even cost of elections, in terms of reputation, in terms of public trust.
Manpower.
And manpower. Well, I want to believe that even if they don't, the pressure of everybody else will say, wait a minute, what are you doing about AI technology? They don't even have to come to me to deploy AI technology. AI technology is there. If they want, they can go there.
Mr. Charles,
yes.
Now with all of this that you have said,
yes.
I know AI has come to stay. We all know, we're all trying to embrace it at the same time. But looking at the fact that we want transparency, accountability when it comes to our electoral process, yes. Because some Nigerians will tell you, I don't care, I don't care whether it's Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba that is there, as long as you do the needful yeah. and we're all happy. Yes. But do you think Nigerians and Nigeria, we are ready to evolve when it comes to technology, AI, electoral processes? Do you think we've gotten to that point? Are we ready?
So, we're not ready. And we're not ready because the problem with the technology is with the technology. The problem is with us, right? Okay. We still have a lot of things to grapple with. Tribalism, favorism, and everything. So there are some people, even if you put the facts in their front, and they are seeing the truth like this, right? Their prejudice will not allow them to see anything objectively, and you just have to know that is the way Nigerians are. But you see, there's something that one person says only fools doubt proofs. Only fools. So if you have a proof and you can put your proof there, eventually it will be difficult for people to argue with what you are saying because they can see it, they can feel it, and they know this is the truth. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So the important thing is let's continue to put the truth out there. And technology is, the thing about technology is that technology is objective. Technology doesn't know who is operating him. If I go to AI now, it doesn't know what my tribe is. It doesn't know. Once I deploy and I'm committed, I will get the same end result. Like if you go there. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So my own is that, look, let's allow science, right, to fight politics.
All right, let's allow science to fight.
Yes, honestly, I think let science speak so much, right?
I think
that politics we know that something has happened to it.
I think from what you are saying, we need more of public opinion as it has to do with the acceptance of what AI can do with our electoral process. Yeah. Because I know a lot of people would want to say AI again in our election, Some people will even think that is going to be a rigging process because they don't have the orientation and the understanding of what AI would do. 2027 is a big game and it's around the corner. So now, what are you putting in place as it has to do with more awareness for this? You are on the right course, but then the people need to know, you need support, and as a matter of fact, you need Nigerians, politicians, the electorate, every game player, every stakeholder, the civil society organization, the media, everyone to be on your side. So what are we looking up to as far as the 2027 election is concerned?
I'm looking up to you guys, right? You see, yes, the media, we can't do this without a platform.
Exactly.
I'm here now explaining it, right? Some of your viewers are watching. If the media provides us with the platform, if the civil society supports it, because for me, if the civil society wants free and fair election, right, they should talk to us and say, okay, this guy you are talking, how can we help you to promote this? So it's very simple. The simple answer to your question is, we need you guys. You guys, anytime you call me, I'll be there to explain anything you want me to explain. You get what I'm saying? Fantastic. So if we have the platform, we will be able to spread the gospel, so to speak.
Okay. All right. We're talking about electoral process in Nigeria and prospects of technology, and we have a technological expert in the studio right here who is giving us a breakdown of how election can be free and fair election. So in the next 10 years, what do you think of elections in Nigeria? Because since I was born, I don't want to say, and now that I'm old, since I was born, there've not been an election in Nigeria that people will say, oh, well, apart from, I'm not talking about June 12, even though it didn't go the way it was supposed to. All right. But now, what in the next 10 years, all right, what will we be saying about our elections in Nigeria?
Okay. So I'm very, very bullish I'm very, very hopeful. I'm very, very optimistic that you can do two things. First, we need to let people know, right, that free, fair election is now very possible. It is now doable, right? And that for it to be doable, we all have to be involved, like I said. So when there is a technology there, right, there will be, like you said, doubt at the initial stage. But once that technology is deployed again and again, and we educate people that, look, the loopholes can be blocked, they can be identified. So at the end of the day, then the other thing to make it is that let that technology be very open. Let it be that I don't want to be the only one deploying AI for the transparency of election. Let somebody else, let's make this thing such that we all have our own accounting program to compute what the tax is, so that you won't say, oh, your computation is wrong, or you have done ojoro, right? All of us, if we deploy technology, we arrive at the same point. You get what I'm saying? So my own is, I'm very hopeful, and with the cooperation of the media, the sky is the limit. We will get there.
All right, we're trying to round up now. Okay. Are you going to be at all the polling units to get this result, or you are going to depend on INEC?
Okay, no. So in our system, right, we'll call what we have the watcher. You see, this watcher is inside INEC IREF. Is waiting. Once INEC uploads anything, it sends it to what we call the collector. Are you getting me? Then the collector sends it to the store. Then the store will scan it. So we have a technological process. So in a way, you can say I'm actually in all the 2,822 polling units.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? It's almost like we have a camera in all of them, and we're seeing them. You know, we will do this thing live tomorrow on Facebook and on the internet. Please, I would like you guys to monitor what we want to do. So what will happen tomorrow will be this. As the results are coming in and being processed, just like in a football match, we have what we call like a board. You will know that if an election comes in, is it from Abaji, local, you know we have 6 local governments, right? Now, is it from one of the 1,410 polling units in Amak? Is it from the 135 polling units in Abaji? In what ward in Abaji? Is it Abaji Central? Is it where? What polling unit? If you see the, I'll make sure not only we will show it live, I'll record it and I'll send it to Global TV. Right. So you will see graphically each of these polling units. You will see the result of the polling unit as they are coming in.
All right, Mr. Charles.
Well, we will monitor the entire 2,822 polling units tomorrow. And I want you guys to watch it. It will be quite interesting.
It will be quite interesting. Well, we're going to get started with the FCT election, which is going to be happening tomorrow. We've had an expert in the studio here who has spoken about the projects of the prospect of technology in Nigeria's election. Well, AI has come to stay. Thank you very much, Mr. Charles, for joining us on Global Morning today.
It's my pleasure.
All right, everyone, our time is not on our side. We would have loved to continue because this is an interesting discussion. But then, just keep your fingers crossed. Tomorrow, we will be here live to give you updates from all the polling units, or maybe as many that we would be able to touch, so that you know the situation result around FCT as the election goes on tomorrow. My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo. I want you to know that the editors from the various newspapers are the ones who are the owners of the headlines. Global Television has no editorial contribution, and the idea and opinion of our guest is entirely theirs and not that of Global Television. Thank you, everyone, for being part of Global Morning today. I'm Ramsey Enoch Agbo.
And I am Jumai Manson. Thank you so much, Mr. Charles Goriola. Of course, he is a election technology expert. Thank you for being a part of the program. Have an amazing day ahead. Bye-bye.